careless as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock podcast. Proceed at your own risk and mark well-me words, ladies. Dead men tell no tale.
Whether you're a lifelong Disney fan, theme park junkie, or someone who just loves great storytelling, you found your new favorite show. Welcome to Skull Rock Podcast. I'm Aljon Go, musician and longtime Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and pop culturist.
Dave Bossert, artist, filmmaker, and author, and welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast. Aljon, did you have a good 4th of July?
Yes, I did. Celebrated America's 250th anniversary with hot dogs and fireworks and potato salad. So
That's great.
It was good. It was good. How about you, Dave?
Well, you know, we're surviving this heat dome that's hit the East Coast. I think you're under it as well, aren't you?
Yeah. Sweltering.
It was sweltering yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
And really, I stayed indoors and just relaxed. I've been having a relaxing 4th of July weekend. It's just been real pleasant. And I was catching up on a couple of things and putting the finishing touches on my new book.
I love it. I cannot wait. Okay, so a few weeks ago, you broke the news about your new book, and we usually save the plugs for the end, but you want to tell everybody about this book again?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about this book. I said to a friend, I think this is like my opus. I really do. I mean,
awesome.
It's 384 pages, Aljon.
Awesome.
384 pages. The title of it is Walt Disney, World War II, Animation on the Front Lines. And I'm very excited about it. You know, I've been doing research into Disney and World War II for decades, collecting stuff. I've got a massive collection, and I'm going to showcase some of that in this new book.
I love the fact that it brings together art and history and Disney, a lot of your passions in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and by the
really
way,
great.
one of the things that I've done is I've broken up the book into the 5 years of World War II that the U.S. was involved in World War II. And each year I'm spotlighting a bunch of different productions that were done at the studio for various branches of the military, various departments of the government, and all of that. And at the beginning of each section, I actually give people sort of a synopsis of what was going on during World War II, key battles and things like that. So I think it's hugely important to weave this material in to the historical context of the war. You know?
That's exactly it. I love the fact that context is there because it feels like you're living through that. If you know the context, you know the stories, you know, you can place all the stuff and why it was done in a certain way or has a certain tone, you know, or tenor or whatever. And I love that. So I can't wait to dig into this book. I love history myself and all the projects that Disney did, even the stuff that they did for educational films. You know, Dave, we've talked about this in previous shows about the different stuff that Disney was hired to kind of do, right?
Yeah, and Aljon, I have to tell you that because of World War II and all the work that Walt and his studio did for the U.S. government and and some of the allies for that matter, that was the foundation for Walt Disney Educational Media Company, you know, because after the war, they continued making educational films and training films for private businesses and companies and whatnot. So I'm excited about this book. I really am. And I'm going to have a ton more details as we, I guess, in the coming weeks and months. I'm going to have a lot more in the way of details and how people can order it. And I'm doing some special things and all of that. Speaking of special things, Aljon, we are on the cusp of 300 episodes.
I'm glad you mentioned it, Dave.
300 episodes. My God.
Dave, I remember sending you that note and thinking to myself, oh, goodness, I can't believe we're here I can't believe we're here at this milestone.
What
I
is it?
mean,
This is episode 298?
298.
Yes. My gosh.
298.
So in
Yeah.
2 weeks, we're going to hit 300. I think what I want to do, if you're okay with it, Aljon, I think we got to do a giveaway.
Mm.
So I we'll talk about it offline, but I'm thinking that, maybe we'll give away some copies of my new book, but people won't get it until the fall.
That's awesome. I mean, I can't believe we've nearly hit 300 episodes as we speak. And we've been doing this show since the pandemic started in the fall of 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020.
I
We're
mean,
fast approaching our 6th anniversary.
I can't believe it.
And by the way, speaking of anniversaries, Tammy Tuckey,
Yes.
who has her podcast, she's
Yeah.
hitting 15 years she's going to be celebrating. Can you imagine that? 15
Yes.
years.
She's old school.
She
She's old
really
school.
is.
She's old school.
She's one of the OGs.
When we started podcasting, and Sorcerer Radio has been around since 2001.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anyone streaming and paying the licensing fees like Sorcerer Radio, and everyone has come and gone, and we're still there. And not only that, but people like Lou Mangello, Nathan Rose, myself, we'd been part of the Sorcerer Radio. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Holy cow, it's been a long time. And a lot of people got their start, and having Tammy be part of that. I mean, it's so funny when you look at, the websites and people that have come and go from all ears, and you look at the different Laughing Place, and you look at all the OGs, Daps Magic, Inside the Magic, and all the changes that have gone on over time. I've blogged for a lot of those people. I podcasted for a lot of those people, and not a whole lot of us are left. Everybody has changed. It's like a whole generation ago, Dave.
Yeah. And why do you think that is? Do you think they just lose steam over time?
It's hard. It's hard. People burn out.
Yeah.
WDW Tiki Room, WDW After Dark. I hosted so many shows and podcasts, and things change, dynamics change, times change. People have families.
Sure.
And people.
Well, yeah, and you have a young family. I mean,
Yeah.
and that happened during these 300 episodes.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
we kind of adjust and
Well, yes, and listeners have been with us, and we appreciate that, and we adjust and we do things, and work changes. And Dave, most podcasts fade after 10 episodes.
Is that right?
And yes, most podcasts fade out after 10 episodes. A lot of them don't last. So the fact that we're here after nearly 300 episodes is quite a feat, and Kristen's been doing Dining at Disney, and I've been doing Dining at Disney now for, since 2010, so it's
Wow.
like, we've been doing it for a long time. Tammy's been doing it for a long time too. So Tammy, I know you listen. So congratulations on the milestone.
Yeah, congratulations. But the thing I'll say though is that the ones that last are really the ones that are just having fun and keeping it fresh. I mean, I think we have fun every week. I think that we're bringing on guests all the time. We're talking about things that are in pop culture that are happening today, movies we're watching, things that are happening at the parks, all of that kind of stuff. So it seems to me that if you're having a good time, your listeners should be having a good time listening to you.
Exactly.
I hope,
Well, you have a good time, and it comes through in the product. I don't think anyone, if you have dreams and machinations that you're going to become rich doing this stuff, that is saved for a very small percentage, and you have to have fun, and you have to be genuine, authentic. And I think the most important thing is that the mission of this program, bringing the stories of these great filmmakers and Imagineers to life, and archiving them for history for all time. that's the mission. I think we do that every single week. If you're tuning in, you want to listen to these stories and document, that's what it's all about. I think that's why we do it. I don't think we do it for any other reason. No one, like I said, no one's getting rich off it, but I think at the end of the day,
Excuse me. Hold on. Yeah, could you? Yeah, I want to have the leather condition. I'm having the Skull Rock Rolls Royce detailed.
yeah, that's it. But as you're getting the Rolls Royce detailed, I'm getting my Bentley done personally. But I mean, it's just about that fun, about the camaraderie that we have.
Yes.
And sharing those stories. It's just amazing that we have these guests every single week, and it's awesome. So
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it, and quite frankly, when we started this podcast, I didn't think we were going to last a year. I thought maybe we'd get a whole bunch of interviews, and we'd say, okay, we got a little bit of an oral history, and that'll live online. And here we are, barreling towards 300 episodes, which is
I know
crazy.
it is
Crazy,
300.
I
It's
know
crazy.
it's unbelievable. Anyway,
It's fun.
before we move on, I just want to once again give a plug because we are in the month of July. But we've been talking about this for the last couple episodes or last month or so, actually. But our friend Arnie Leibovit is doing a special screening of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, which features a whole bunch of Ray Harryhausen stop motion animation. It's a big screen Technicolor presentation, a restored print. And he's going to be showing two more George Powell Academy Award winning Puppetoons along with it. It's on Saturday, July 25th. It's at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana, California. And the links for tickets and everything are in the show notes. If you're in Southern California, I really, really would encourage you to go and see this presentation. It is just, the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad is just a fantastic show. It's a fantastic movie, 1958, and it still holds up really well. I've watched this movie multiple times over the years, and I just love the stop motion animation in there. So check it out, Aljon. I know you've put the links in the show notes, and you have been for the last month. So if you're in Southern California, or if you're going to be in Southern California on July 25th, check this out because it's just an absolutely fantastic presentation. Arnie does a great job with these all the time. So go check that out.
Absolutely.
Pam, she wrote this great review of my poetry book.
That's my pick.
I read a great review.
Your girlfriend got a great review.
Oh, that's my pick too. Sorry.
Excuse me while I start the projector.
Skull Rock Podcast, Picks of the Week. Barreling into our Picks of the Week. Dave, what have you been watching this week?
Well, Aljon, I have to say that I have not watched a lot of stuff. Last week I was in New York for a good part of the weekend and didn't get back home until last Wednesday. But I did watch, and I'm just looking for my notes here. The Agency, season 2 of The Agency, which is, if you haven't watched this, it's an incredible show. It is a show that I've watched on Amazon Prime. The season 1 was fantastic, and season 2 has dropped. And I'll just give you a quick synopsis. A covert CIA agent is ordered to abandon his undercover life and return to the London station, where the love he left behind reappears. Romance reignites. That is just a very mild presentation of this. That's all I can say. It has an all-star cast. An absolutely all-star cast. Michael Fassbender stars as Mark. He is the central CIA agent. Catherine Waterston is in it. Richard Gere, Jeffrey Wright, Jodie Turner-Smith, who's incredible. It is just a star-studded cast, and I gotta say, it's you're on the edge of your seat. John Magaro is in it as Owen. It's just a spy thriller, action type of show. There's 10 episodes in season 2. I highly recommend this. I give it 2 thumbs up. It's really one of the best shows I've seen in a while. And I know I say that sometimes because I actually only tell our listeners primarily about great shows that I've watched, because if a show isn't very good and I barely get through an episode or two, I just move on, because I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to waste people's time, and that's the important thing. I don't want to waste my time. Now,
Yes.
have you seen Downton Abbey?
I've seen clips. Yes.
Okay.
Clips.
So
Mhm.
I've watched Downton Abbey, and I've also seen all of the Downton Abbey movies. They're just very well done period pieces. This next show, The Other Bennet Sister, is on the sort of the same level, if you will. Different filmmakers, but it's of that kind of quality. This is a period piece. It's about it's about the other Bennet sister, who's Mary Bennet is the main character, and she has 4 other sisters, and the premise of the show is escaping her sister's shadows. Mary journeys from Meryton to London and the Lake District to find independence, leading to an unexpected Regency era love story. This is just a wonderfully acted, wonderful set, cinematography, costuming across the board. I wasn't sure I was going to like this. And I watched the first episode and said, oh, let's see the second episode. I watched the second, and over a course of 3 days, I binge watched the entire series, and it is that good. It really is well done. Mary Bennet is played by Ella Corley. Donald Finn is Mr. Hayward. You've got Ruth Jones plays Mrs. Bennet, the mother of the Bennet sisters, and you just loathe her after the first or second episode. She is just villainous, and I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed The Other Bennet Sister, and I really do hope that they bring it back. It's listed as a historical drama. I just think there's a funny edge to this that's just wonderfully delivered. And it's 1 season, 10 episodes. It's just brilliant, and I can't recommend this highly enough because it is just a stunning show. You can check it out on BritBox. I have BritBox through Amazon Prime, so you can watch it on any of those, or you can watch it on the Roku channel. Overview, it has an 8.3 out of 10 and 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, Aljon. 97%. So I'm not necessarily into historical dramas, but when they're really well done, I've enjoyed them, like the Downton Abbey movies. And I'm going to tell you, watch The Other Bennet Sisters. You will love this. You're going to fall in love with Mary Bennet. You're going to just root for her, and you're going to be, shaking your fist at her mother, who's a monster. She's a monster.
Always, you got to have a yin and yang there. So
now,
yeah.
I did watch a new show. It's called You're Killing Me, and it stars Brooke Shields and Tom Cavanaugh, along with Amelia Williamson. Brooke Shields, right? I mean, that's a throwback, right?
I love it.
In the quaint New England town of Founders Cove, a best-selling novelist forms an unlikely alliance with an aspiring podcaster to find the killer of a close friend. but clashes with the local police detective. So the novelist, of course, is Brooke Shields. The podcaster is Amelia Williamson. And the local police detective is Tom Cavanaugh. Um, this is actually shot in Nova Scotia. And it's beautiful scenery, absolutely beautiful. I love the scenery in this show. And it gets a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and only 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. But you know something, I'd give this show a chance. You can watch it on let's see, where did I watch it? I watched it on Acorn TV.
Acorn, there you
Yeah,
go.
Acorn TV through Prime. So yes, I have a subscription to Acorn TV as well. So
What don't you have a
I
subscription
know
to, Dave?
it's really what don't I have a subscription to?
Yes.
But you can check that out also on the Roku channel.
Love
So
it.
it's available on Acorn TV, Amazon Prime, and you can rent it on Apple TV. You can watch it for free on the Roku channel. So I enjoyed it. I think 52% on Rotten Tomatoes seems a little bit on the low side for me, but the Other Bennet Sisters, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. So there you have it. Those are the
There you
three
go.
things that I watched and can recommend to you, our wonderful listeners. I hope you really check out The Other Bennet Sister because it's really a surprisingly well done show.
Nice. I
Aljon,
like
what
it,
have you
Dave.
been watching?
Well, I'll tell you, this is not like The Other Bennet Sister. This is We Bury the Dead. This movie, released in 2024, stars the Daisy Ridley. And I think Daisy gets a lot of flack because of Star Wars, and it's not her fault. She's an amazing actress. She really carries this film. She and the actors certainly do. After a military catastrophe leaves Tasmania filled with partially reanimated corpses, the volunteers searching for her missing husband and abandons every recovery operation and travels south through isolated communities collapsing beneath guilt. So this is a monster zombie horror film. But it's really not. It's about this married couple. Daisy gets a call from her husband. It's gonna be a minute before I can get back home. I'm gonna do this work retreat. He gets stuck there and the island blows up. There's some serious issues going on. So it's set in the backdrop of the zombie apocalypse happening in Tasmania. However, it's about her trying to find her husband. And who does she find but another great actor in Brendan Tywaits. He's an Australian actor. I apologize if I say his name wrong, but he's great. The rest of the cast is great as well. A lot of these are unknown to me, but they are very, very good. However, the film is kind of riddled with pacing issues in my thought. So it starts out, fine, everything's good. This is what happens. So as a movie should, kind of grabs you, hooks you in, and then it's a snooze fest for half the film. And do you know when you watch the show The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Dave, did you see The Last of Us? There was maybe a couple episodes where there was kind of like a lull in the action.
Yeah.
Now, typically, when there's lulls in action, Dave, as a filmmaker yourself, usually use that to do some exposition or character development in this, time.
Right.
There's not a lot of that, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, there's not a lot of it. So I feel like,
what was the purpose of it? That's what I want to
know. It was just slow and plodding. I felt like the pacing was off. I felt like I wanted to know more about Daisy Ridley and that situation. And I feel like you could have made this into a short film and cut out a lot of it. There were some really cool things, but like I said, the cast is the best part about it. And I think if you trim half of the movie, you have a very tightly made story. and Daisy's great in it. You know, and the visuals look really nice. I mean, look at that. I mean, the hellscapes that people go through, and the twist at the end is very, very, very good. Daisy Ridley, I think, carries it. So if you're a big fan of Daisy Ridley, that's great. It's an hour and 35 minutes long. It should have been half that. So
It's an hour and 35 minutes, but it feels what?
It feels like 2.5 hours, Dave. It feels like 2.5 hours of getting my teeth pulled, unfortunately.
My gosh.
So that's it's a 5 or 6 out of 10 for me. It is a 5.6. I think the audience agrees with me on this one. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Something that I do like, though, The Sheep Detectives with Hugh Jackman. You talked about this a few weeks back when you were doing your gallivanting around France. But I will tell you that this is so much fun. Every night, a shepherd reads aloud a murder mystery, pretending his sheep can understand. But when he's found dead, the sheep realize once that it was a murder, and think they know everything about it. They're going to try to solve it. And it's cute. This is a great family film.
It is, isn't it? I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I mean, look, you know, it's just one of those films that comes along. It's just a little bit of an oddball type of film, but it is such an enjoyable one, you know?
It really is. It is a joy. It is a joy to watch. I mean, look at this. And the effects I thought were great. Like,
yeah, no, it was very well done.
I think it's really well done. The voice cast is amazing.
Yes.
You got Hugh Jackman, of course, and he's only in it for a little bit because he's the guy that dies. But then the voice cast carries it. Voices you know and love. Sir Patrick Stewart. Captain Picard is in there.
Yep.
You've got Bryan Cranston is in there. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. There's a lot.
Brett, is it Brett Goldman or Goldstein? He's from Ted Lasso.
Yes. Brett Goldstein's
yeah,
in it. Regina Hall.
He plays these two the twin Rams. He voices both the brothers.
I love it. I love it. Bella Ramsey, speaking of The Last of Us, right? So she's in it too. It's really great, you know, and it's funny how they have, you know, the black sheep of the family, you know, they don't listen to the black sheep. Look at that cute sheep.
I
know,
that
little lamb.
It's fantastic,
so cute,
isn't it?
Absolutely adorable. High marks. I give it a nice 7 out of 10. It's definitely a must-watch family movie. Something that is not a family movie at all. Definitely not one for the family is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And the first one was insane. I like Ready or Not. It's kind of one of those things where it's so outrageous, you can't help but just enjoy it. Sit back and laugh and watch. After surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all. You know, it's
all right.
It's humorous, it's fun, it's irreverent, it's absolutely outrageous. Dark comedy, splatter horror, comedy horror. I mean, that's what it is. And it certainly delivers. And the cast is amazing. So you have coming back Samara Weaving, joined by Catherine Newton, the sisters. Amazing. Elijah Wood is the lawyer, and Elijah is hilarious. Sarah Michelle Gellar is Ursula Danforth, one of the richest families in the world. These rich families, of course, decide who live and who die. Right? They run the world. David Cronenberg is in it. You've got Anthony Hall. So a bunch of really Nestor Carbonell. You know Nestor Carbonell because he's just in literally everything. Here's the cast list. Look at this. I mean, it's just an amazing cast. There's Nestor right there. I mean, you just love to hate that dude. You know, Kevin Durant, Bill Wilkinson. He's an amazing actor. He was in the there was a vampire horror movie, but anyway, really good stuff. It eludes me right now, but man, this is fun. It's a lot of fun. And if you love dark comedy, you're going to love this movie. Sarah Michelle Gellar, She still got it. I love it. So check
So
out Ready or Not.
you're going to say it's a comedy, huh? So are we going to be
I'm
laughing?
going to say it's a comedy,
laugh
more
out,
so than a horror movie.
Laugh out loud funny?
It is.
Okay, good.
It is, Dave. It is.
Awesome.
If you love dark horror, like Death Becomes Her. If you like Death Becomes Her, and Dave, you remember Death Becomes Her?
Yeah, of course.
And you love and Ready or Not. If it's like Kill Bill meets Death Becomes Her. That's what I'm saying. It's very much like that.
And where can we watch this?
Well, you can watch this right now on Hulu, streaming on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
So check it out. It's great. Last but not least, Dave finally finished wrapping up The Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So this is animated. It's a cel-shaded animation from Marvel Studios. You can stream it on Disney Plus. It was released earlier this year. I finally saw the last 2 episodes. It's great. Go in and check it out. This is a PG-13 or PG animation. So there's some heavy topics on it. You may not want to see the little ones may not want to see it because there is violence in it. But it's really well done. And what I love about it is the cast. Hudson Thams plays Peter Parker. Coleman Domingo plays Norman Osborn. There is great stuff in it. In fact, there's a couple cameos from Daredevil himself that's in it as well.
Really?
So yeah, the guy that plays Daredevil. So he's in there. It's really well done. Great stories. This is, I believe, if you like the series What If, which I do, I love What If. This is kind of like the alternate universe. What if Peter Parker had X, Y, and Z, and was brought up in a different timeline? Really well done. Go out of your way to check it out. It's great primer and fun as we go into brand new day Spider-Man released here in a couple weeks. So
yeah, 31st, really right? July 31st.
Yep. At the end of the month, we're gonna have new Spider-Man, and it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I've been seeing the trailer for it. It's a good trailer.
It's so good. I did a rewatch actually of The Amazing Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire,
the first one.
The first one that you worked on, Dave.
Yeah,
I think you worked on that. It's so good.
Did you watch the credits?
Oh, of course. Of course I watched the credits. The spider web and everything was just so well done. And of course, the kids loved it. They love Spider-Man. They really liked it a lot. So when they saw Spider-Man Far From Home, when all 3 of the Spider-Man, they're like, what are all these guys doing? Of course, their little minds were blown. I said, it's all the Spider-Man from all the different movies coming together. And they're like, what? So it's really fun, but this one is fun as well. So go out of your way to check that out.
Awesome.
All right, gang. Let us know what you're watching, and maybe we'll review it in an upcoming episode.
Like me, they spend all their time studying pop culture that Halliday was obsessed with.
I'm really interested in what I like to call pop culture news.
People know that in 22 minutes they can get their fast, fun pop culture fix.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
All right, Dave, Minions and Monsters. You talk about really cute movie trailers. Minions and Monsters is unbelievable. Strong holiday opening weekend, 39.5 million to 64.5 million for the 3-day time frame. That's pretty good numbers. I thought it was going to do a little bit more than that, Dave.
I think so did Universal. I mean, I've been seeing headlines saying it's opening soft.
Do you believe that the soft weekend is due to the immense heat wave that's happening?
You know what? I think that might be the case. I mean, I think people might have stayed home. I don't know. And you would have thought, though, that they might have, wanted to seek refuge in an air-conditioned theater,
You would have thought. And typically the July 4th weekend is very strong box office numbers, Dave. I mean, the whole blockbuster movie release schedule is hinging on this July 4th weekend typically, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thought there. But Not surprisingly, Dave, Toy Story 5 hanging in, animation's dominating the
Yeah.
box office. Toy Story 5, of course, 36 to 70.8 million prior weekend figures holding well. Domestically, the total for the global run, 350 million, which is huge.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the strongest films of 2026 thus far.
Yeah, I certainly see the Toy Story 5 going over $1 billion. You know, I'm actually going to try and go see it this coming week at the local multiplex.
Same here. I mean, you know, I had a cat who guests on the show on occasion. She loved Toy Story 5 to the
Good.
point where she said that she was crying about it.
Awesome.
She loved it so much. And that's high marks for a movie fan. Young Washington from Angel Studios, a new entry opening weekend. Pretty strong, 17.5 for Angel. And Dave, I can't believe it. Supergirl, declining box office. I think they've only made 3.6 to 10 million maybe over the weekend. 52 million gross.
I mean, Aljon, there's articles popping up talking about this is a bomb. I mean,
it's not doing well. It's not recouping its money.
What do you think's gone wrong here?
I don't know. I want to see it myself. I want to say that maybe the critics are a little harsh, but it's not just one person on one side of the spectrum. It's like everybody.
Yeah.
It's everybody is disappointed. I don't know what it is. And I don't think that it's just female-led superhero films.
Right.
It's not that, because I really enjoyed Black Widow. I enjoyed, I actually watched The Marvels again.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun. I don't think it was choppy, how they put it together, but I don't think it was bad. And I didn't think Captain Marvel was bad either. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I'll have to watch it myself because I thought Superman under James Gunn was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was fine. I didn't think it was anything, overly special.
It wasn't the Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
No, not at all.
Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy that James Gunn wrote and directed was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought that James Gunn with the Suicide Squad was amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. James Gunn did a Superman film before Superman was called Brightburn. And it was a horror, like Superman turned on its head. I thought that was brilliant. So I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
He did not do Supergirl. He actually delegated it to someone else. And maybe that's where it happened.
Maybe.
They're just, Disclosure Day. I heard good things about this, Dave. Have you heard good things about Disclosure Day?
I saw this in the theaters. I loved this film. I thought it was very well done. Look, is it a Close Encounters of the Third Kind? No, that's its own movie, but I thought this was very well done. I enjoyed it.
There you go. Obsession is still rocking, Dave. Can you believe, I think these, the global totals for Obsession, I think are now 300 million.
Yeah. I mean, this is both Obsession and Backrooms. These are guys that were making stuff on YouTube.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The haul these guys are having.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And of course, Jackass Best and Last and Scary Movie round out the top 10. Dave, it's 250th anniversary, Disney Celebrates America actually happened. There was a lot of fireworks and patriotic programming, of course, a lot of promotion for the parks and stuff that's going on there. Did you happen to catch any of that?
I did not see any of it. Tell me about it.
No, it was just one of those things, how Disney puts together their holiday specials and they put a bunch of, they stitch together a bunch of like, here's new stuff happening at the parks, come to the parks. This is kind of what I felt this was. It was basically an infomercial for Disney parks.
Yeah.
And all the really cool stuff. They just happened to weave in, a lot of stuff from Soarin' across America.
Let me ask you though, Aljon, because you were just down at Walt Disney World. What do you think? Were you seeing a lot of, America 250 type of stuff going on at the parks?
Last week when I mentioned it briefly, I said I didn't, but then again, there was some stuff there in the parks. And when we went to I'll be honest, when we went to the Magic Kingdom, they did have the place dressed up, but really it was not even on my mind. So I don't know. I think it was just so damn hot, Dave,
Yeah.
that I just was like, let's do all the rides, kids. Let's do all the rides. I really wanted to go see the Hall of Presidents. I really wanted to go to Epcot and do the American Adventure, but we never got around to
Right.
it because it was so hot and miserable.
Yeah.
But they did have some really good merch,
Okay.
So, and I believe that they had those special fireworks presentations, which they always do, and they are amazing. So I plan on making sure that the kids see that and watch it because they love fireworks shows just like we do, especially when Disney doesn't. The other thing I will say is that X-Men 97 season 2 premiered. It is great. So I've only seen some clips, and there's some really cool stuff that got spoiled for me on the internet, as they do. But if you love X-Men animation, X-Men 96, you'll love X-Men 97. The season premiere is happening. Go check it out on Disney Plus. And Dave, another great thing was Star Wars Visions. I don't know if you saw the trailer, but it's pretty cool.
I did. This is the anime Star Wars, right?
Absolutely. I mean, check this out. It's just amazing stuff that
I
they
thought
have
it was
here.
a very good trailer, by the way.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's absolutely awesome. So go out there and check out Star Wars Visions presents The Ninth Jedi. It drops August 5th on Disney Plus and Hulu. And Star Wars Visions, I think, was remarkable, telling stories outside of the canon trilogy, or I guess now the Skywalker saga, as it were. And I love how these different animation houses from across the globe were able to tell those stories within the Star Wars universe. And this Japanese animation style, I think it's really well done. It's very Studio Ghibli style. So check that out.
The only comment I had was that the trailer was in Japanese with English subtitles, and I'm hoping when the movie drops on Disney Plus that it's dubbed in English.
Yes.
I hope it is.
I agree. I hope so too, because I do not like subtitles.
Well, look, I often say I don't want to read my movies. If I was going to read, I'd pick up the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd
exactly.
rather not read a movie if I can avoid it.
Well, that's why I liked Squid Game so much. I didn't want to read the Korean subtitles. I just wanted to see the project, and I really appreciated that. So I hope they do it here as well.
Yeah.
A couple things, released. There's a new Beyonce song, so check that out. Morning Dew. There is new stuff from Taylor Swift, including the Toy Story 5 soundtrack. So she contributed to that. So please check that out.
And her new last name. She got married on Friday night.
She got married. Taylor Kelsey now, right?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift Kelsey.
There you go.
So good. Congratulations to the happy couple.
Skull Rock Podcast.
You're like that little arrow on your hat, straight and shining, and that's the way I'll always remember you.
I'll always remember you. Always remember you.
I'll always remember you, Sharon.
They hang you, I'll always remember you.
In memoriam.
Let's start with Joby Baker. You sent me this, Dave. After surviving Pearl Harbor as a youngster, he acted in films with Paul Mooney, Elvis Presley, Connie Francis, Jack Lemmon, and the Three Gidgets. Dave, this guy,
he was in a lot of films, but also he considered himself a painter. He was never comfortable with celebrity. And I think the acting paid his bills so that he could paint.
Yeah, absolutely. They say here that Baker died June 22nd in Yonkers. And, that's a life right
92.
there. 92 years of age.
You get into that ninth decade, you've done okay.
Absolutely. I think so. Also, passing this week, Victor Willis. You know him from the Village People, who co-founded the band.
Yeah.
He wrote YMCA. He dies at the age of 70.
He wrote most of the hits.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, brilliant guy, man. If I could have, so many hits, that would be amazing. The Village People, man,
But
quite a fixture in the
74,
70s,
that's
80s.
74 is young.
I mean, oh my gosh, look at that
Come
guy.
on.
I mean, they still toured a lot, Macho Man, YMCA, in the Navy, just to name a few. Victor Willis, he had a short but aggressive illness. They didn't go into things all that much, but he was on Broadway in The Wiz and cashed in on that disco craze in 1977, made up with a bunch of macho men, if
There
you
you
will,
go.
and the Village People. So rest in peace, man. Indiana Jones actor Michael Byrne passes away at the age of 82.
What a familiar face he is, huh?
I mean, look at that face.
Yeah.
Look at that
He
face.
played
That
the
face.
evil Nazi in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, he melted. He melted. He burned an effigy in
Yes, he did.
that film when he opened up the crate, the Lost Ark, and the Ark of the Covenant, burned his face off. Michael Byrne reportedly passed away, and June 20th, of course, he performed in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Oh, it was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
There you go. Yeah.
And he was the father of 2 children as well. So there you go. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. And then here you are, Dancing with the Stars, mourn the death of longtime musical director Harold Wheeler. Brilliant musical director. Dancing with the Stars, I really enjoyed. It's not one of my shows that I must watch,
right?
But I love the live band. And musical directors of this ilk, they're hard to find. He was brilliant in what he did.
Yeah.
The show's longtime musical director died June 24th at the age of 82.
Wow.
The Tony Award-winning orchestrator had a touching statement. Let's see. We are deeply saddened by the passing of Harold Wheeler. One of the extraordinary talents in musicianship, helped shape the early identity of Dancing with the Stars. Acting as the show's musical director for the first 9 years, Harold brought unparalleled artistry, passion, and excellence to the life of every performance, creating unforgettable moments for millions of viewers. So, rest
Very
in peace
sad,
there.
yeah.
Very sad indeed. Well, now it's time for us to get into it. This is our first of 2 with Tom Sito, amazing animator, director. So sit back and relax and enjoy this interview with Dave and Tom right here on Skull Rock Podcast.
Let's do it.
Hey, let's chat.
Let's chat afterwards. Let's chat. And he said, let's chat again.
Skull Rock Podcast. Interview time.
Well, Aljon, we've got another repeat guest coming back to the Skull Rock Podcast. We've got animator, educator, the legendary Tom Sito. Tom, welcome back to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
I am doing great. It's so good to see you. And I mean, a lot's happened with you recently. You retired from teaching. Tell us about that. Why did you retire now?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like when I first got in the business in the 70s, 50 years ago, I watch all these old folks retire and leave the stage. And I think, God, I love this business. I never want to retire. Why should I retire? I just love doing it. And then I started to hit my 60s and I went, yeah, I'm starting to see it. Yeah. And then just 70 is a good round number to check out. So.
Okay, so you want to enjoy yourself and you're shifting gears. I hate using the word retirement because to me that there's something negative about it. I feel as though instead of retiring, you're shifting gears. So you're not going to do the daily grind of going into, USC and teaching and everything, but you're still writing.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining you're going to continue to write.
Oh yeah. I've got two books planned already. Actually 3 and everything. So in the works, so I'm not going to slow down in that respect.
I don't think you should. I think that's fantastic. I think when people say they're retiring, they stop doing stuff, they atrophy and die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've all seen that.
Yeah. A funny story, but, we were talking before about, from my house, in the West San Fernando Valley down to USC, it was like about, it's like about, 15 miles each way. And with heavy traffic, it could be easily over an hour, in the bad traffic. And I don't know if you remember, but there's a lovely lady named Judy Levitow, who's the daughter of Abe Levitow, who was the Disney UPA director who directed Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol.
Uh-huh.
And Judy was an assistant animator for a while, and then she dropped out of the business, and for a while she got a job in air traffic management. Those air traffic helicopters where you could hear, "This is Judy Levitow, your eye in the sky. There's a signal alert on El Toro Y." And you go, "Hey, that's Judy. She's up there." You know? And one day we were hanging out at Bill and Sue Croyer's house at a party, and we were talking about stuff, and Judy said, "So, you still live in Woodland Hills?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "And you teach at USC?" I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Yeah, and you take the 405, the freeway?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh." You know, it's like when an air traffic person goes, "Oh, you're so screwed."
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, the
Yeah.
traffic is miserable. That's the one thing I don't miss.
Yeah.
But you've written a new book. Tell us the
Yeah.
title. What's this new book? And tell us about it. Drawing Life Back into Animation, a personal journey through the toon renaissance of the 1990s.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of two things. One was, when I got into like sort of writing about the history of the business, and we were, you and I were very fortunate in when we began our careers. A lot of golden age artists were ending their careers.
Yes.
You could overlap a little bit, and it'd always be like, "Tell me your secrets, old man." "Oh, no, tell me." But so we got a lot of good stuff. But I notice so lately when people are writing histories, they kind of like stop around Walt Disney's death, and then they kind of stop at Jungle Book and then skip right to Little Mermaid.
Yes.
And it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wait a minute, there was like a 20, 30 years in between there. A
Yeah.
lot happened,
Well, Steve Anderson, the director of Meet the Robinsons, he wrote Disney in between
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
the lost years,
Yeah.
1966 to 1986, because there was a big void there. Not very many people have written anything about that period.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that inspired me about it was when we first started in the business, you remember that the golden age people who, there was a whole generation, and we saw it happen with computer graphics. It was all like one generation of people, going through like right now, all the founders of Pixar are retiring.
Yeah.
Like there might be like maybe like two or three, like Pete Docter and Andrew Stanton and all. But it's like at our generation, when we all started in the mid-70s, everybody was all the entry-level jobs, assistants and in-betweeners, were about in their teens and 20s, and the animators were in their 60s.
Yeah.
And there was this big gap right between, Spielberg talked about this. He said that his first job directing on Night Gallery, he said he was like 26, and his crew were all in their 60s. And it's just it's that generation. It's the golden age generation that came in the 1920s, that did their best work in the 40s and 50s, and by the 70s they suddenly thought, "Uh-oh, we're mortal. We better start training people."
Yeah.
Because nobody behind, and I saw some conferences at in Montreal and stuff of international animation conferences where Seamus Culhane was saying, "Who's going to come after us?" We
Yeah.
better start doing something. So this is kind of to sort of address that sort of generational shift.
Did you look at this as being sort of almost a memoir of sorts of your career path?
Yes, yeah. I do consider it partially a memoir, but I just found out that I needed to kind of explain the situation where everything is.
Yeah.
we're like, because so many people, they have like rose-colored, view of it, or a jaundiced view of it, depending on whatever whoever's writing. But when a lot of people are talking about, the 70s, and it must have been wonderful, and it's like, no, it was a lot of trauma. A lot of stuff happened where the big studios that dominated Hollywood were all falling apart, by the 1970s. And it's like Max Fleischer died in 72. Of course, Walt died in 66. A lot of the greats running studios were stepping away or dying, and a lot of people felt like, is what's happening to this business? I was talking with Glenn Keane and Eric Goldberg, and it struck me how many of our generation, when we started, would at least one old person would look at us and go, "This business is dying. Don't waste your time. Something else."
Like, do you feel like that was sort of a viewpoint that people had through the decades?
I think so. Yeah. It didn't really disappear till Mermaid. Like all through the 80s and all, it was kind of like, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, no offense, because I know you worked on Black Cauldron and stuff, but a lot of people who went to see Black Cauldron, who weren't at the studio at Disney, came out thinking, well, that's it for that place.
Yeah. Well, something, yes. But I mean, I will sit there and say Black Cauldron was my first picture. So I have a sweet spot in my heart for that picture.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's a terrible picture. I think it was a break from the norm of Disney. It was the first PG. I mean, there was a lot of cross currents going on while that film was being made. But I don't think it was a terrible film, But I can understand why people came out of it saying, "Well, that place is done."
Yeah, because you got the problem of there was an art historian named Ferdinand Lott who talked about the end of ancient art and medieval, and he talked about the paralyzing effect of masterpieces. Meaning that no matter what you did, everything you do is going to be judged against Pinocchio and Jungle Book
and Snow White, and yes,
and Snow White. Yeah. It's like that everything is going to go again,
Sure.
just like everything after Lion King. The next film, Pocahontas, did the same amount of money that Beauty and the Beast did, but the suit said, well, it's not Lion King.
Well, they kept saying that. Beauty and the Beast was fantastic. Aladdin, who would have predicted it would have been twice what Beauty and the Beast? And then, oh my gosh, Lion King goes over 300 million at the box office.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there saying to our faces, "Oh, we don't expect the next picture to do. This is an anomaly. This is an anomaly." And so when Pocahontas came out and it didn't do that money, they were like, "Oh gosh, what's wrong here?"
Yeah, and and even continued on to at DreamWorks when we were doing Prince of Egypt. The big thing with DreamWorks was that everybody was saying, Prince of Egypt is going to be a perennial. It's going to be everybody's going to love it, and it's going to do Lion King money. And it came out and it did well, but it didn't make Lion King money.
Right.
It just it did okay. And at the beginning they were disappointed. Since then it's kind of become a classic. I'm always surprised with students telling me how much they love Prince of Egypt, and I'm like, "You do? Oh, good." And we talk about Black Cauldron being your first film. My first film was Raggedy Ann and Andy. With Eric Goldberg and the crew, and yeah, we've been in theater by ourselves, and a friend, which my friend Kevin Petrolak was, he's from like Flushing originally, Queens, and he was sitting in the theater, and the projectionist actually came downstairs and said, "If I give you your money back, can you go home and I can close the theater?" I was like, "But I worked on this movie."
That's great.
That's why it was so refreshing that the day Who Framed Roger Rabbit opened up, We had done all the prep, we had done all this, we'd all killed ourselves to make it the best film we could. We're all at the premiere. It was at Radio City in Manhattan. But then that Wednesday, when the movie actually opened, I think it was at the Ziegfeld Theater in Rockefeller Center, and I remember going from my hotel to the theater and thinking, okay, this is it. Like, what's going to happen? And when I came out of the subway entrance, and I saw the police barricades and the line like 6 rows deep going right down the block, I was like, oh my God, we've got a hit.
It's funny. When I first got to London, to the Camden Town studio, you were there.
Yeah.
The first daily session I went into, I walked out of that with the biggest smile on my face, but I was thinking to myself, this is either going to be the greatest thing, that's come out in a long time, or it's going to be the Heaven's Gate of animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really what I kind of thought. And I thought it was fantastic seeing some of the final composite shots. I
Yeah.
loved it,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how it was going to be. But isn't that true though about every picture we worked on?
Oh yeah.
You just you get so engrossed in what you're doing, you kind of lose sight. You don't know if it's going to be a hit or not a hit. You like certain aspects, you may not like other things. You want, some people were like, with Lion King, who wants to see a bunch of African animals talking?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. It's funny. Like a wise old animator once said that these big projects are like an old-fashioned square rig sailing ship, and you and I are the people like pulling the ropes, like doing all this stuff and climbing up the rigging and everything. And you look at the captain, and the captain's steering for the rocks, like. And you're like, but you can't forestall the inevitable disaster that's happening. You just have to
you come in every day and do the best you possibly can on what you're doing.
Yeah,
on the picture,
Yeah,
so.
And it's just it's just interesting because before Roger came out, friends were asking me, so are you worried you're doing like a big Howard the Duck? Like Lucas's first flop.
Yeah.
And I said, no, we're not worried about Howard the Duck. We're worried about young Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie, well written, good, breakthrough effects and everything, and nobody saw it.
Yeah.
It just didn't click with audiences, and
well, and that's the reason why they changed Basil of Baker Street, John and Ron's first picture, to The Great Mouse Detective. They were trying to distance themselves from that,
Yeah, that whole thing, and and then an ancillary thing to all this success was, I always thought it was amusing. Like I love the old animators. God bless them all. They did beautiful work and stuff. But I noticed like after Roger Rabbit and after Mermaid, I caught a little twinge of like the old guys didn't like those films. They're being very polite to us and all, but they're really kind of like, and I thought, what's behind that, and I think they were so used to the fact that they just thought the greatest movies, the greatest animated films ever done have been done, like we did them. And nothing that good is ever going to come again. And when Mermaid came out, and Aladdin, suddenly there are movies being done as good as the ones that they did. And they didn't quite they had a little trouble accepting that. And it didn't hit me until Frozen came out. Because I go, here's a really successful movie that I had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And I was like,
when you look back though, can you honestly say when you look at The Little Mermaid or Aladdin that those pictures are as good as Snow White and Pinocchio, production value wise?
Yeah, it's funny because it's very much colored by my own sort of taste and everything. Like I personally think Pinocchio and Dalmatians are like the summit. They're like the best.
They're the masterpieces, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Snow White has a great beauty, great nervous beauty to it. Still has a little echo of the 1930s, and
Yeah.
it's just and all the people working on it knew we've got to make this the best movie we can, or we're all unemployed.
Yeah.
So there's a real, tightrope walk they did. But I'm proud of our films.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of every film I worked on because I did the best I possibly could as part of my participation in the film with hundreds of other artists. But
Mhm.
but when I look at a film like Little Mermaid, I like it.
Mhm.
There's no doubt about that. I think it's entertaining and everything. But just from the standpoint of production value, I don't think it reaches Pinocchio.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just that's just my personal feeling. That's not a criticism of it. It's just an observation, really,
Mhm.
and they're two different types of movies,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
do think after Mermaid, the production values, like our generation, if you will, the Renaissance generation of the art,
Mhm.
uh, it improved from picture to picture to picture.
Mhm. Yeah,
It
it's
just
true.
got that much better.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's just my viewpoint of it. But in your book, you're telling your personal story, but you're also telling ancillary stories and parallel stories, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely, because it is, like, we experienced everything basically as a generation. So, like, I opened my book with the Grim Natwick 100th birthday party
Mhm.
in 1990. Which was this big party done at the Sportsman's Lodge, venue for big events and things in Studio City in Los Angeles, and Grim Natwick, of course, was the designer of Betty Boop, and he was like one of the leads at the beginning of Snow White, and he did Princess Glory in Gulliver's Travels, and he just seemed to be everywhere. And what happened was when they started, I had been organizing events for CIFA Hollywood, and just get-togethers for people. And one day, coming out of the Annie Awards, Tisa David, who's this great animator, and June Foray kind of walked up to me in the parking lot, and Tisa used to be Grimm's assistant.
Mhm.
And she's a Hungarian immigrant, and so she said to me in her beautiful voice, she says, "Tamás, you may party for Grimm." I'm like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, Grimm's gonna be 100." I said, "Oh, okay." And she goes, "Invite all his old assistants." And I said, "Who are his old assistants?" "Chuck Jones, Mark Davis, Frank Thomas, Ollie
Wow.
Johnston."
Wow.
I said, "Oh, the kids. Oh, yeah, I'll just call them up," I mean, I didn't really know them that well. I got to know them,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was intimidating to say the least, and the good thing was, Chuck and Mark Davis and Ollie, sort of like took the reins and ran with it and started networking with all the old folks and everything.
Yeah.
And they realized this is our last chance to all get together as a group and everything and have one more drink and all say celebrate ourselves. And what happened was it was like old Hollywood and young Hollywood was sort of came because you had the 9 old men, you had Chuck Jones, Friz Frayling, Walter Lantz was there at 90.
Wow.
And then you also had, Matt Groening, and you had David Silverman, and you had, Ron and John, and Gary Goldman and John Pomeroy, and it just was like just sort of this. You could see the two generations, like
Yeah.
one generation passing the baton to the younger generation, like that. And it's funny because I start with that, and I end with a reunion at the Tam O'Shanter for the anniversary of Beauty and the Beast, Oscar, because
Right.
that and now it's like, oh yeah, okay, now we're the old guys. Now it's our turn. Like, uh-oh.
And you end with that, but what about in the middle? Are you just really going through the renaissance of animation, the various pictures, and the fact that
Yeah.
you left Disney, you went to DreamWorks. From DreamWorks, you went into teaching?
Yeah. Well, I was at DreamWorks. Yeah, I was at DreamWorks for a while, and then I went to Warner Brothers to direct Osmosis
Oh,
Jones.
that's right. That's right. I
And I
remember
did
that.
that
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Warner's, yeah. And I was off and on at Warner's for a couple of years. I tried my own company, and that didn't work out. And then around 2010, I mean, I had started teaching one night a week at night.
Mhm.
I taught at CalArts and I taught at UCLA and a couple of bunch of places, and because basically what I learned from Art Babbitt and Richard Williams, who were both excellent teachers.
Mhm.
I learned so much from them. Not only about animation, but also about teaching animation. One of my other teachers in New York was Harvey Kurtzman, who created Mad Magazine.
Sure.
And Harvey liked to go for a beer after class, and I was like his assistant, his essay that we would say, and Harvey would sit there with the beer, and he goes, "My theory of teaching is, got a 15-week class, bring in 5 guest speakers." He goes, "Pros love to talk, students can't get enough of pros, and you can sit in the back and have a cigarette." It's the '70s, The teachers are all smoking in class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, but anyway, so in 1994, I got the offer to teach at USC. They just called me up and I said, we need a position. And I said, okay, this is not like a little film school like Joe Bob's Film School. This is like a college. This is
Right,
like
right.
you're not kidding, college.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to keep this. So no matter what studio I was working at, on Thursday night, I jump in the car, drive downtown, and I do my 3 hours teaching. And then around 2010, my wife Pat said to me, you come back from the studio and you bitch, 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 and you come back from school, go, how's class? And I said, I had fun.
Yeah.
Goes, well, maybe it's telling you something. I go, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I went in. So you know what my official title is. That I retired from.
No.
So, Professor of Animation of the John C. Hench Division of Animation and Digital Graphics of the Marilyn and Jeffrey Katzenberg Center of Animation of the George Lucas School of Cinematic Arts at the University of Southern California.
Holy mackerel. Wow. That is a title.
I know. I feel like one of those Russian generals. I need like all the medals.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about this new book and how did it come about for you? When did you start writing it? And what was your process? Did you go and talk to other people? Hey, do you remember this? Or is it all from your memory?
Yeah. Well, it is. I actually started it about 12 years ago, and not to say I was working on it constantly because you got to make a living,
Sure.
and you have to do stuff. And I actually wrote like 3 books in between that one, which was a surprise. But
And this one is book what? Is this book number 5 or 6 or?
Yeah. It's either 6 or 7. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure, but like the cookbook one came together like really quick and
Yeah.
everything, which was fun. But yeah, I found like my own personal process, I kind of like a model of like I don't know if you know the historian Cornelius Ryan, who
I've
wrote
heard the name, yeah.
Day and all that stuff, A Bridge Too Far, that kind of thing. And Cornelius Ryan's thing is he interviews everybody. He stacks up so many interviews and all just to kind of like get it, and then he does a lot of first person anecdotes, and I thought that's a nice way, because a lot of our industry animation is kind of like master to apprentice, and it's like storytelling,
Yeah.
Various anecdotes of people saying things and stuff. And just repeating that wisdom and passing it on. I remember like when I was at Filmation in the '80s, we had a lot of people from Warner Brothers and Disney and a lot of different folks. There's some artists and stuff who were doing their like last jobs before they retired. And I remember kind of sitting with them at a bar and listening to them all tell war stories to one another. And Pete Alvarado, who was a wonderful Warner Brothers layout guy, he said, someday somebody should put all this in a book. And I'm like,
there you go. Yeah.
There you go. So,
how many times have we heard that?
Yeah.
Because I hear that from people all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the other thing too, is that we love the older generation so much and all that he suddenly thought we better start writing our history.
Yeah.
Because we're checking out. Like, oh.
Yeah, that's it is kind of crazy when you say it like that, because we're starting to lose some of our contemporaries. It's crazy,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when somebody like Joe Grant died, I mean, God bless him. He was like 90, 97 or something.
He was a week or two shy of his 97th birthday.
Yeah. And I remember asking him, I said, when did you really start at Disney's? He goes, oh, I don't know, Three Little Pigs.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, I have a picture of Joe, myself, and Roy E. Disney at Joe's 95th birthday party at the Animator building. Hanging on the wall over here. But the crazy thing about having Joe in the building was I had been doing research for years on the World War II era, and I have a new book coming out in the fall on Walt Disney World War II.
Great.
But I had gotten a whole bunch of the legal files on various titles.
Wow.
And in there were original telegrams. And I would go down to Joe's office and go, Joe, this is a telegram from Walt to you at the studio here. And he'd take it and he'd read it for a second. And he'd go, oh, yeah, Walt was back talking to General so-and-so. And he'd just go right into it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was absolutely. And this is a telegram from the 1942, 1943.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that stuff's great. There was an animator I knew in New York who was a UPA guy named oh God, see, names are starting to fly out of my head now. It'll come to me, but he was an animator, and I remember like he was in the draft and he went through basic training, and he was getting prepped to go to the battlefields in the Pacific, like he was in San Pedro Harbor, waiting to get on a troop ship to head to Guadalcanal or something, and his papers came through for the Signal Corps. You do training films and stuff, and Red Augustin, that's his name. Yeah. And anyways, so he was literally waiting in line with his bag and everything until a sergeant went by calling out names, and he goes, Augustin, and he stepped out of line, to go to the Signal Corps. And as he's walking back, his buddies said to him, hey, who do you know? And Red said, Eleanor, meaning the first lady.
Yeah.
But he was working for a while at Fort Roach, which was the Signal Corps, thing in Culver City.
Yeah, the old Hal Roach Studios.
Yeah. And he said he remembers like watching Ronald Reagan in his clean pressed, crisp uniform, walking smartly across the lot to look at the footage from the front, and he would growl. He goes, Marlene Dietrich in fishnets and pumps got closer to the enemy than Ronald ever did.
That's great.
Yeah, but just to hear those background stories are fascinating.
Yeah, and the shame is that a lot of those stories have been lost to time, because some of that stuff has never been documented. And I think it's only been in recent years, the last 30 years, that there's been a concerted effort of various people, doing interviews and transcribing interviews and, writing books and trying to put a lot of this stuff in out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is the thing about being this type of history is that nobody gets rich writing these books.
No,
You know,
not at
it's
all.
it's
Not
like
at all.
it's like it's not that. You know, it's you write it because they should be written.
Yeah.
You know, you should leave this behind because when it's gone,
Yeah.
and it's never coming back. You know, and you know when you think of like Grim Natwick and stuff, you know, Grimm started in 1918.
Yeah.
You know, you know, he was too old for the First World War draft. You know, Charles Solomon said, "You forget how old he is until he mentioned voting for Woodrow Wilson." Like,
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Mark Davis, I remember, was like at that time he was 76 and on a walker, you know, or a cane, and he goes, "I like Grimm. He still calls me Sonny." You know, but I mean, just like the whole history of animation in Hollywood,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you know, when we talk also about the older generations and saying why a lot of them were bitter, a lot of them were felt bad about at the end of their careers, it wasn't just the choice in movies or having to stop animating, but the Hollywood that they knew had so completely changed.
Yeah.
You know that from 19 basically, it was a slow retreat from 1950 to about 1980. But there was like a and the '60s was the worst because that's when the big studios all broke up.
Yeah.
You know, because you were an animator working in the '40s, you would go to you know, a house party or a dinner dance, and your friends from MGM and your friend from Warner Brothers and your friends from Screen Gems would come over, and you'd all talk with one another and laugh and joke around. I mean, you know, uh, what you call it? You know, there was a harmony to the studios. Like there's all the big studios and the big lots and the things that people were working on, and then that all started to break up. And all those big back lots were being bulldozed and turned into shopping malls and condos, you know,
Yeah.
all disappearing, you know. I mean, the land that the land where I am right now, I remember in the late '70s, when you drove out this far west from in the San Fernando Valley, at a certain point, it was open country, you know, and it was the Warner Ranch.
Right.
You know, they were filming westerns and things, and Lives of a Bengal Lancer and things like that were all Charge of the Light Brigade. You know, it was all happening in this area, and then it all got developed, and now it's all condos and Targets. You know, so they saw the Hollywood that they knew completely get destroyed. You know, and just kind of just disappear, and they felt like it's not as good as when we were doing it. You know, it's not the same. So.
Well, it's never the same for any generation.
Yeah.
Every generation said we did it the best, and this new generation, you know, what's with this new generation? These kids, they're all buried in their phones. What are they doing? You know, right?
Yeah. I remember like after Roger Rabbit or something, one old animator, I won't say who, you know, actually like growled at me. He says, "I kept hoping they dipped the rabbit."
And by the way, our listeners will know what you're referring to if they're a real fan of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know,
Right?
so.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In your book, is there any particular period for you that kind of bubbles to the surface? You know, I'm sure you're the same. I get hit with these questions. What's your favorite movie that you worked on? And I can't say which is my favorite, only because it's like trying to pick your favorite child, you
Yeah.
know, but because every picture has its own unique DNA. You know, it's there's things you learn, there's friendships you made, there's fond memories for whatever reason of every single picture. But is there any one that bubbles to the surface for you?
Uh, well, yeah. I'd say Roger Rabbit was great and everything. I really enjoyed that. And who was it? The first one, Raggedy Ann and stuff. You know, that was a wonderful one because I made a lot of good friends on it, and I got to work with Art Babbitt, and I got to
Yeah.
work with all these like famous old animators and everything. Dick and everybody. Um, But yeah, like you say that too. It's like some films that are very successful, you worked very hard on and all. It's one thing, and then other films, even films that are failures, you still had a good time on.
Yeah.
Like I had a great time doing Osmosis Jones. And it's like
Sure.
it didn't do that well when it came out. And or Raggedy Ann. Some ones you're on and you just know, like Yogi Bear the movie. I was working on that and I was like, well,
Yeah.
they're paying my insurance.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. It's funny that you'd mention Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because that's usually the one that bubbles to the surface for me, and
Yeah.
and it's really for different reasons. It's not just the picture. It's because I got to live in London,
Yeah.
and it was a very international crew, as you well
Yeah.
know, and from that I have friends all over the world. That I see when I travel and stuff like that. And
Right.
so to me, that's what was really beautiful about that film,
Mhm.
and it was great that the film did so well too, and that it holds up,
Yeah.
35 years later, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I know, like with Roger also was that coming out of the 1980s, where like there was so much an obsession with I don't want to say political correctness, whatever like that, but it's just like you couldn't do anything violent in cartoons. You
Yeah.
couldn't hit anybody, you couldn't blow anything up.
Yeah.
All the stuff that we loved in the 50s and all watching, the Roadrunner give each other dynamite sticks or hit each other with mallets. Nothing like that. In the 80s, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
When I was at Filmation on Fat Albert and those things, they had like a child psychologist who actually looked at everything and said, "No, you can't do that. He-Man can't kill a tree." So, and it's like the comedy. The only thing I could get away with was spit takes. Characters going.
Yeah.
It's like the only thing, and then Roger Rabbit comes up and he's being hit with frying pans. He's got Yosemite Sam's got his butt on fire. There's explosions, And I remember reading the script and I came in the next day to Bob Zemeckis and I'm like, this is good. Like, are we really going to do this? And he almost looked a little offended. He goes, "Of course we are." I go, "Great." That's what, I just couldn't believe it. I'm so used to good ideas being emasculated and cut to pieces, and I thought this is actually gonna be a good film. you know.
That's great. Hey, we're starting to bump up against time, but
Mhm.
I just I want to come back next week and I want to talk a little bit more about your book, but I also want to talk about the state of the business right now, what's going on, and
Mhm.
maybe we can touch on some AI because it's so relevant. But I just want to say thanks very much. This has been a great episode and great talking with you, Tom. Tom is the author of the new book, Drawing Life Back into Animation, a personal journey through the toon renaissance of the 1990s. It's out there. It's available. You can get it where you find your books, where you buy your books. So,
Yeah.
Tom, we'll be back and we'll see you next week. Thanks for being on the Skull Rock podcast.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Let's get out of here!
Come on, Scotty, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, Lieutenant.
It's great to have Tom back on the show.
It is, I love Tom. He recently retired from his teaching at USC Film School, and he's got this new book out. We're going to talk about that next week in part 2. But it's always great catching up with Tom, and it's always great having a repeat guest.
It certainly is, man. And he's got a lot of stories to tell. And we look forward to sitting down with him part 2 next week on the program as we barrel closer and closer to show 300.
Unbelievable.
Thank you so
Unbelievable.
I know, right? Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show everywhere you find podcasts, video on YouTube, as well as Spotify. Everywhere else it's audio. Still great stuff. Please give us those subscribes, give us those likes, leave us comments wherever you find the podcast. We'll read them in a future episode. Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, we're there. Check us out. You can follow me, Aljon Go, on Instagram and X. It's the best place you can follow me. You can also send me emails, aljon@skullrockpodcast.com. Dave accepts emails too, dave@skullrockpodcast.com. We're going to get that website back up and running here shortly. And the other thing I will say is be sure to check out my other podcast, Dining at Disney. If you love theme parks and the food, just like I do, be sure to check that out with new shows and video content several times a week now. Check it out, Dining at Disney, everywhere you find podcast and video on YouTube. Dave?
Yeah, Aljon, our listeners, you guys can catch me on the Tunes Behind the Tunes on Sirius XM Disney Hits, channel 133. During the month of July, we're going to have a new song. I don't know what that song is because I'll find out on Tuesday. So it'll drop, I think, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And so next week, I'll tell you what that song is. But it rotates throughout the month when it's playing. The episode, the Tunes Behind the Tunes on Sirius XM hit Disney Hits, channel 133. And if you want to get any of my books, and, some of our listeners do wind up ordering some of my books after they listen to our show, you can go to theoldmillpress.com. You can get author-signed copies of many of my books, including the newly released The Art of John Canemaker, An Animator's Garden by John Canemaker, and A Spoonful of Sugar, the story of the Upjohn Pharmacy in Disneyland by Stephen Hall. Both of those are new releases from the Old Mill Press, and they're available. And later this year, you're going to be able to get a copy of Walt Disney World War II, Animation on the Front Lines by me. That's right. Your lovable co-host here, Dave Bossert. And if you want to, you can go to my website, davidbossert.com. There's a lot of free content that you can read. There's also some videos, and there's free stuff you can send away for. And with that, Aljon, I'm going to tell everybody, go out and have a fantastic week. Hopefully this heat dome is going to move on and leave us alone, and we'll get back to normal temperatures. But in the meantime, be careful out there. The UV index is very high. You can burn very quickly. Use sunscreen, sunblock, protect yourselves. And have a fantastic week, folks. Be kind to one another. We'll see you back here next Monday, right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.